How's it going, guys? So I'm hoping everyone's been having a pretty good year. I know it's been a while since I've made a video, but someone was asking me if I could do a graphic novel trade collection video, and I figured since I'm reorganizing this shelf here, see if I could do this without making it look weird. I'm reorganizing the shelf here, and I figured I'd give you guys a look into my collection. So yeah, let me get into it. Try to make this as quick as possible. I'm sorry for the shaking, but I'm doing what everyone does and going the handheld route. And yes, I'm skipping the bottom shelf because that's a bunch of Shonen Jumps and other manga. So into the second shelf here. This is the big three shelf. Big three because DC Image and Marvel is on it. And I've got some humanoids down at the end over there. But typical stuff. A lot of Batman for DC. Um, Zack Snyder's Batman, New 52. Some Mike Mignola Batman, Batman Black and White, Volume 1. I got that because it has a story by Katsuhiro Otomo. And you know, you can't go wrong when he's doing Batman, right? Has he ever done Batman? He did it there. More Mike Mignola. Got some Cosmic Odyssey. And this is a collection of everything he basically did at DC, I think. A lot of covers, some Superman stories. I think even Green Lantern. I can't remember. And this is more Mike Mignola at DC. This is Iron Wolf. I think he did this with Chaikin. Yeah. So typical stuff. Here we have Vertical, which is more DC. Sandman Mystery Theater. Some Grant Morrison books. Scott Snyder's The Wake, which had a great first arc. Very nice horror. And then the second half kind of went downhill. I don't know. I wasn't too happy with it. And of course, Image, typical stuff. Savage Dragon, Moonshine, the top hitters here. Southern Bastards, Manifest Destiny, Five Ghosts, great stuff. Dead Body Road, this is by Justin Jordan and Mateo Scalero before he went over to do Black Science with Remender. Glory, very nice. Extremity, I have to have some Daniel Warren Johnson in there. And yeah, Prophet, Headlopper, typical stuff. Some Simon Roy books. These are great. I love his art. Very unique. And Marvel, I'm sure everyone has their typical Marvel Max stuff. Nick Fury, My War Gone By. Very cool. Enos stuff. Ennis? I don't know. Punisher, of course. This is Punisher Presents Barracuda, which is kind of very slapstick. You think it would be more serious, but if you compare it to what Ennis did in My War Gone By, but it's very different. Very fun. And some Wolverine stuff, Deadpool stuff, Hit Monkey. Big fan of Hit Monkey. I think this is, yeah, that's by Dalajik. If you can even see that, I have no idea. And more of the Marvel Now stuff, and the humanoids. There's the Meta Barons, Son of the Gun, and the Incall. I've heard people say Inkle. I don't know. I'll say it's the Incall. And Snowpiercer, they're at the end by some other French artists. So we move on. We'll skip this shelf. This is basically just manga, but hashtag the Back Issue Club that was started by Terrence. He's been looking at 2001 Nights by Yukinobu Fushino. And if for some reason, Terrence, if you're watching this for any reason, here's The Two Faces of Tomorrow, also by Hoshino. This is an adaptation he did of a James P. Hogan novel. Yeah. So if you're interested, there's also a, what is it, Saber Tiger here. That's also a Hoshino short story collection similar to 2001 Nights. But onto the graphic novels up here. I have basically the bulk of the collection here is mostly Dark Horse. Of course, you have BPRD Hell on Earth, BPRD Hellboy, a bunch of other Hellboy, some Abe Sapien. Oh, there's Hellboy on the BPRD. The Visitor, and of course, my favorite character in the Magnolaverse, the Lobster, Lobster Johnson. We have some older Dark Horse heroes here. It has Ghost, Concrete. Then we have House of Penance, the Ghost Fleet, more Daniel Warren Johnson art. And for the longest time, I couldn't find these, but apparently now every comic book shop has a collected edition. By since Donny Cates is a bit more well known, he's got more influence to get his stuff collected. Then we have Ether, Rogue County 1 and 2, The Witcher, more Magnola, The Goon 0 and 1. The Goon is pretty good. I need to get some more Goon. Then, of course, we have Predator, Judge Dredd Alien, Grendel Warchild. I remember seeing a bunch of ads for this when I was back in high school. And by the time I got to actually reading it, it was much later. But it is a very interesting story. It doesn't have the best art, but the storyboarding in the actual book is very nice, very fluid. And it's not the typical Grendel, I think, that everyone expects. And then we have Space Mullet, Daniel Warren Johnson. Hopefully, now that he's done with Extremity, maybe he'll come back to Space Mullet and give us some more of that world he created. But who knows? Whatever he does, it'll probably be pretty good. The Umbrella Academy, very fun 2 issues. Gabriel Ba on art is pretty amazing. And this thing, what is this? Oink, Heaven's Butcher. This was a pretty good story. It has some very, very nice art. It's painted, sort of painted, I think. Anyways, Baltimore, more Magnola. I'm sure you're seeing a trend now. A lot of Magnola. Then we have Alabaster with, of course, Warren Johnson art. It was funny to read this because it's like in the middle of the story, so I'm not sure what was going on. I think Alabaster has been running in Dark Horse Presents for who knows how long. And but the art, of course, did it for me. The Amazing Screw-On Head, more Magnola. Alien Salvation, more Mike Magnola. The Black Sinister by Kira Andrews, very fun story with some Troy Nixie art. And Mr. Haig Comes Home, more Magnola. The Goon Chinatown, that is more from Eric Powell. And we have some larger formatted books. Can you even see those? We have Gary Jennings' Monster Man and some Hard Boiled and Shaolin Cowboy by Mr. Jeff DeRoe, both of them. So there you have that. And then we move into even more indie titles, the last shelf here. And I'm saying indie because they're smaller press books. Here we have a Euro Comics from IDW. Of course, we have a Mr. Corto Maltese by Hugo Pratt. The Man from the Great North by Hugo Pratt. Jerome K. Jerome. This is some more of their Euro line. This was kind of a slow read. And here we have Trent by some more Bundesliga by, I can't remember who, Rudolph and something. This was a great story. I really loved the art on this. It kind of reminded me of Jiro Taniguchi, especially in the backgrounds. And it was better than The Man from the Great North for some reason. But hopefully I'll get some more of that. They're kind of expensive considering there's basically single issues for the album, the European album. Uh, Garden of Glass, more European stuff. White Donkey, Terminal Lance by Uriarte. These here, Pariah, Missouri. I'm cutting the title off. Pariah, Missouri. I'm not sure where you could get these. My local shop had these because the writer was at the shop. I think they might be a Kickstarter. I'm not sure. I think I may have seen them once on previews, but it's some great story. Basically, some western taking place in Missouri with some fantasy elements. It's an interesting read, and I think maybe Volume 3 will be coming out. I'm not sure. Like I said, it started as a Kickstarter, but then of course we have some Rachel Rising here, Terry Moore, Motor Girl. This was a fun one. The last volume was a very heart wrenching. And Boom. We get into some Boom here. Sombra, Damon. I've been looking for volume 2 for a while for Damon. Giant Days, Oh Kill Strike, Cluster. It was a fun read. And IDW. IDW here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have one of these. Zombie versus Robots. Atomic Robot. Big fan of Atomic Robot. I have a bunch of singles and I figured I'd get the trades instead. Dave 2. I really do enjoy the art in Dave. It is a very ridiculous story. Transformers. There's some Transformers here. All Hail Megatron. I can't remember why I got these, but it is a very interesting story. And then we got Oni Press. We got The Marquez by Guy Davis. Love his art, especially in the BPRD. But I think The Marquez has been republished by Dark Horse, so it might not be with Oni Press no more. The Damned, The Six Gun, Colin Bunn stuff, and Silver. Can you see Silver? This is from Dark Planet. Great vampire story. Another Kickstarter, I think it was. I'm not sure. I got these through my comic shop, and there is a third volume to end the whole story, but I'm not sure when that's coming out. Afterlife with Archie. Here's some more Magnolia here. I think this is the Bram Stoker adaptation, and some Epic. More Howard Chaykin and Mike Mignola. This is Fafner and the Gray Mouse. It's fun to see Mignola's art before he did Hellboy. Even in the beginning of Hellboy, he had some very interesting art that was completely different from his Hellboy stuff nowadays. But yeah, that's some Epic. Here's some Chuck Dixon Epic. I'm not sure. I got these. There's a bunch of old stuff. Action Nabs, Bolt, Tomboy. I'm still waiting for the final issue, the final volume of Tomboy. I really enjoyed this story. Some Dylan Dog, Jeff Smith's Bone, Moroni Press here, first Gorillas, and here's some more Dark Horse. For some reason, it just crept in here. This is actually a manga. This is Nightmare or Domu from Katsuhiro Otomo. Old City Blues 1 and 2, if you could see it back here, by Giannis Milono Giannis. Big fan of this. Basically his take on or his homage to Masamune Shiro's stuff. Very futuristic cyberpunk. And I'm not sure why Archaea decided to go with these weird formats. It's like you got a hardcover for the first volume, this trim size, and then they went for a really small floppy cover on volume 2. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking, sorry. And then Pinocchio Vampire Slayer. This was a fun, I think it's a fun kid story with a lot of violence. I don't know. And finally, I have some second books here. This is the Divine. It's a very weird, with some very nice art, war story, sort of. And of course, one of my favorites here, Last Man. This is a great series, 6 volumes, and then first one dropped it, sadly. And they dropped it at the worst time because the cliffhanger on the last volume is probably the biggest cliffhanger you could have. And that sounded kind of like a spoiler because never mind. But if you get a chance to read Last Man, I highly suggest it. So yeah, there you have the graphic novel collection and some manga, larger trim size manga. But try to trim this down, edit it or whatever, and put it up. And thank you very much for watching.